What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today I want to talk to you about intuitive machines, give you a quick overview of some of the data points, break it down on what really drove it higher, and if there's still room on the table for it to continue to go up or not. Before we get into any of that, make sure you hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, it did go up a very impressive 13.15% on Friday. So even though the market did close at 1, it still was a beast. So it did have a new 52-week high of $17.14, low of $14.50. So lucky individuals that bought in first thing. Big money was definitely playing it today, and so you can kind of see a lot of big transactions. Historically, you have roughly 10 transactions on the secondary market above $100,000 max. You do not get this. So 1.64 million, 3.5, so a lot of big transactions, but this definitely blew a normal day out of the water. So big money was very much getting in, even with the reduced hours. 19.88 million for volume, 18.3 is the average. No actual news associated to the company itself, rather just a lot of good market optimism, and that was kind of resemblant throughout the whole market. Any stock that essentially as well that was very heavily shorted was getting a extra abnormal amount of institutional purchases. So there is something happening behind the scenes. Can't really put my finger on it. It seems as though that some entities are actually specifically targeting anything that is heavily shorted, and that obviously is intuitive machines. It's kind of worked against it in the past on how they've been really able to suppress it, but on Friday, shorts did return net 475,000 shares. 23.51% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 17.66 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost of borrow average is 7.85, and then utilization is 53.05. Couple of things as well that really kick-started its good momentum, and that was this. So ultimately, a couple analyst ratings. So analyst rating was done 4 days ago, $19 buy rating. Austin, who has a 48% success rating. Then aside from that, 7 days ago, $20 buy rating, Roth MKM. And this individual right here, 54% success rating. So as a consensus, $17 is that price target, and that does represent a 3.98% upside. So pretty epic stuff in that regard. Aside from that though, moving over to options, 14 million in calls, 1.39 million in puts. 45% of all the options being done on Friday were optimistic and bullish. And just generally, you can kind of see that Friday was, even again with reduced hours, it blew the last several trading days out of the water. There was a grand total of 15.1 million in total premiums. And so even the day prior, so on the 27th, was 4.3, 5.3 on the 26th, and then 9.3 on the 25th. So definitely it stands out. And historically speaking, whenever you get this abnormal amount of premiums and it results in this green day, it does have at least 1 or 2 following green days. So at least that's something to kind of look forward to going into at least the next couple trading days. Aside from that though, of the call options that were purchased today, you see a consensus for it to be above $17 for next week, and even as high as kind of abnormally $18. So a lot of optimism is on the table. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub roughly $15. So in my opinion, a lot more upside is anticipated. And with obviously Friday passing, this is the chains for the November 29th. So the ones that just passed. And so all the open interest. And so a lot of people will be looking at this for potential gamma squeezes, not necessarily this last week, but going forward with increased attention from big money. And if obviously the stock is able to continue this good run, then this is how you could see a lot more in the money calls. So basically with it closing at 16 and change, that means 2,000 at that 16, 2,000 at 15.50, 5,000 at 15, and then 2,000 at 14.50, and then small change below that. All of that is going to be covered come Monday. So first thing, you're going to see a nice little bump up as market makers will be covering those in the money options. because they don't have a lot of volatile stocks such as Intuitive Machines on hand, so they have to go to the secondary market to buy. So this is where you could see a nice bump up first thing, so kind of stay tuned for that. Right now, though, with it at 16.35, it is trading between these 2 points. So this R2 and this R1. So 15.61 is going to be that next strong support that you'll want to watch for. Flip side, 16.61 is going to be that next strong target / resistance. So it did actually break above that. Again, it had a high of 17.14. So it did show that it can go up. So in my opinion, with that nice bump up first thing come Monday, this is where you could see a nice continuation and a push higher. Aside from 16.61, 18.24 will be another level for resistance, and so essentially that would be a new 52-week high again for Intuitive Machines. So I think in general that this stock definitely did have a lot of potential a long time ago. The only thing that really added to the whole just suppression was the fact that it was getting lower and lower volume, and it is very heavily shorted, so shorts were able to really dictate what did happen. But because of their recent earnings, I think that just blew the top off of absolutely everything. So the earnings came out on the 14th on a side note, but on the actual chart itself, above all the key pivotal moving averages that I like to look at, it is higher percentile of the boiling band. Stochastic RSI, it is at 81, so a little bit overbought, but then again, pretty much every single stock is in a same boat as that, and number of retail investors have been getting in. So in my opinion, I think a lot of the data points that I covered are very optimistic and bullish, and a lot of which do signal that there is a lot more upside with Intuitive Machines. So let me know your thoughts. Are you a buyer? Are you a seller? Or did you dabble with a little bit of options? Of course, any stock such as this that goes up very fast, this is where individuals selling covered calls could get really trapped and they missed out on a huge potential run. So make sure you always do your own due diligence at the end of the day. I did launch a Patreon where I'm giving buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. So really recommend a lot of you to pop over there and take a look, because I've been giving absolute bangers. But even on there, I have a whole section on beginner, intermediate levels for trading strategies for options. So I really recommend, if you do want to better yourself as a investor, to really kind of dabble a little bit with options. So let me know your thoughts in basically what happened. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up, and hopefully everyone has an amazing weekend. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.